Just 4 of the top 16 teams in Class 5A are in the same spot that they were last week. Again, today I'm bringing you guys the top 16. This will be the second to final top 16 before the postseason. And before we get started, I will say we've got another version of our bracket predictions coming out later this week. You guys seem to enjoy that. Our ranker's working on his RPI predictions. There's some big games this week, teams on the bubble that really need a win to solidify themselves. So a massive week here. But I'm going to get you guys your top 16 before then. Starting at number 16, Sioux City East. They're new to our rankings. Big win over Ames. Win likely propels them to a top 16 RPI spot into the playoffs. They finished the year with number 11, Johnson, and they've been led by Cal Jepson, who leads 5A in passing yards with 2,100 yards. At number 15, Linmar. Tough loss to City High. They finished the year with number 4, Pleasant Valley. Win and they're in. Lose and their playoff path looks a little bleak. They've been led by Tyree Allons on the ground, who has 576 yards rushing. Iowa City High, number 14. There again, they beat Linmar, a really big win in the rain, dominating fashion, 30-0. They get number 5 Bettendorf's team. Iowa City High should have locked up a playoff spot, but a win against Bettendorf puts them in the top 10 for RPI. They've been led by Miles Parlay, who has 1,100 rushing yards this season, which is number 2 in Class 5A. At number 13, Cedar Rapids Prairie. They're at 4-4. They dropped 3 spots. Tough loss to number 5 Bettendorf. They'll face Iowa City West to end the year. This game will have playoff vibes. It is a win, as it is a win or go home for both teams. Casey Kelly leads the way on the ground with 959 yards and 10 touchdowns. At number 12, don't write this team off, Valley. This team was outside of our rankings. I believe they were 1-5, and they've rattled off 2 straight. Valley gets their first big win of the year over number 8 Ankeny on a walk-off field goal. They now have losses to number 1, number 2, number 3, number 6, and number 11. Just crazy, a gauntlet of a schedule Valley's had to face. A win against Marshalltown gets them in the playoffs and makes them a tough out for anyone they play. They've been led by Damon Head, who has 800 yards rushing this season. At number 11, Johnson at 5-3. Johnson wins their 5th game of the season. They end the year with number 16, Sioux City East. Win this game, and they're likely a top 10 seed. They've been led by junior Will Nuss at quarterback, 1,400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Getting into your top 10, though, where we did have some pretty significant upsets, and one of them came from the hands of Cedar Falls. Cedar Falls, they put up a nice game and a win over Kennedy, 17-14. They finished the year with a solid Davenport West squad. Drake Gelhaus has led the way with 500 yards on the ground this season. At number 9, Ankeny Centennial, they dropped to 500 at 4-4. Centennial, tough loss to Waukee Northwest. They finished the year with Urbandale. Win, and they're in the playoffs, likely as an 11-13 seed. They've been led by Elijah Porter, who has 849 yards rushing this season. At number 8, Ankeny. Ankeny drops a tough one to Valley, like we said. Last-second field goal. They've been led this season by Luke Anderson at quarterback. He's got 1,400 yards and 13 touchdowns. At number 7, Kennedy. After reeling off 5 straight wins, I really thought this was one of the teams I was going to go on an absolute tear. They kind of drop a tough one to Cedar Falls in the Dome. They finished the year with Davenport North. Vincenzo Gianforte, obviously, number 3 in Class 5A in passing yards with 1,900. They're going to look to finish their regular season strong. At number 6, Waukee. They move up 3 spots. Waukee finished the season with Council Bluff, Abraham Lincoln. A win there and gives them a 7-2 record and likely a top 8 RPI finish in a home game in round 1, which is huge. They've been led by dual threat quarterback Beckett Baker. He now has 1,000 yards passing, 400 yards on the ground, and has accounted for 15 total touchdowns. Moving into your top 5 in Class 5A this week. At number 5, Bettendorf. Bettendorf coming off a solid win over Prairie. They get number 14, City High, to end the season, win that game, and they probably end up number 3 in the RPI. They've been led by dual threat quarterback Charlie Zimmerman. He's got 800 yards passing and 400 yards rushing, and is accounted for 14 total touchdowns. Right above them at number 4, Pleasant Valley. They moved down a spot, though, just because of Waukee Northwest. But PV, they finished the year with Linmar, win this game, and they likely end up as a top 3 or 4 seed. They're doing it their normal way. They've only thrown the ball a total of 44 times this entire season. Coy Kipper leads the way with 13 rushing touchdowns. And Waukee Northwest could have been your team of the week, honestly, but hey, we gave it to Valley. But Northwest with a huge win over Centennial, 17-7 on the road. They end their year against Ames. They should finish 7-1 and as a top 5 seed. Dual threat quarterback Sam Johnson has just been electric, a guy we have not talked about enough. 1,100 yards passing, 600 on the ground. He's also accounted for 21 total touchdowns. Waukee Northwest has just kind of been creeping around in our top 10 and one big win, and boom, they're all the way up into the top 3. And at number 1 and number 2, No surprise here. These two teams just clash in what I think is the game of the year, no doubt. Dowling and Southeast Polk. Dowling drops their first game of the season. They finished the year with Sioux City North, Rashad Davis, 1,100 yards and 20 touchdowns. Southeast Polk, on the other hand, big win in triple overtime. They finished the year with Des Moines Lincoln. They should end up 9-0 as the number 1 overall seed in Class 5A. Sam Zelenovich and Carson Robbins each have 550-plus yards receiving this season. So that's all I got this week for Class 5A's Top 16. Again, playoff predictions coming your way later in the week, in the middle of the week. Excited for that one. You guys seemed to like that one last time, and obviously we've got the pairings coming out this Saturday, so tons of postseason content coming your way, and IA football is your place for just that.